Good afternoon. You're watching City News 24/7. I'm Faiza Amin.
And I'm Melanie Ng. Just days before the House of Commons resumes, Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre is confirming that he will try to trigger a federal election as soon as possible.
Let's bring in our Glen McGregor, who's been in Nanaimo, BC all week long for the Liberal caucus retreat. And Glen, we just heard from the Prime Minister, who is taking aim at the Conservative leader. What's the latest on your end?
Yeah, the MPs who are gathered here, a lot of them are very nervous about their own job prospects, of course, because if the polls continue in the way they have been over the last year, the Liberal government will likely fall in the next election campaign, and a lot of those people, those MPs, will be out of work. So there's an expectation that Justin Trudeau is going to lay out a plan here in Nanaimo, telling them what he's going to do to kind of reboot the party, change direction. Is he going to bring in new faces? Yesterday, he announced that Mark Carney, the former governor of the Bank of Canada, had signed on as an economic advisor. But when we just heard from Justin Trudeau speaking to reporters for about 15 minutes, we didn't really hear from him what he's going to do differently. He was repeatedly asked about this and instead kind of reverted to some of the talking points he's been using over the past year, talking about the things that the Liberals have done to benefit Canadians, things like the dental care program, child care program, the school lunch program that he's very proud of, talks about at every opportunity he gets. But what he didn't say was, what is he going to do differently? How is he, other than what he has already done? But he did take a lot of shots at Pierre Poilievre, the Conservative Party leader. Here's what he told reporters just a few minutes ago.
We are stepping up and investing in our future. We believe in Canadians. The world believes in Canadians. You know who doesn't believe in Canadians? Pierre Poilievre. Because his answer to what do you do with the strongest economy in the strongest fiscal balance sheet in the world right now is you cut. You cut programs that Canadians need. You cut the school food programs. It's going to save families $800 on grocery bills.
So this really looks like it's going to be the theme for Justin Trudeau in the months ahead as Parliament comes back, is comparing his government's record, its economic performance, and warning people that all those programs that he's implemented, dental care, child care, school lunches, that Pierre Poilievre is going to effectively cut them if he becomes Prime Minister. Now, Poilievre, meanwhile, was doing his own press conference today in Ottawa outside of the House of Commons, and he is warning about the possibility that his government is going to try to or his party is going to bring a motion of non-confidence in the House of Commons. Here's what Poilievre had to say today.
Will they vote non-confidence to bring down the costly coalition and trigger a carbon tax election? Or will Jagmeet Singh sell out Canadians again? Which will it be? It's put up or shut up time for the NDP.
So Pierre Poilievre can read a poll just as well as anybody else can, and he would very much like to have an election now. He's trying to frame this as an election, a referendum on the federal carbon tax. But for that to happen, what his party would have to bring, once MPs come back next week, the Conservatives have to wait for something called an opposition day. And that's a day when the Conservatives can bring any motion they want to the floor of the House of Commons and force MPs to vote on it. If they bring a motion of non-confidence, as Poilievre says he will do, then the House of Commons, all the parties will vote on that. And if the Liberals can't get support to hold them up, to keep them in power from either the NDP or the Bloc Québécois, then the government would fall. Trudeau would have to go to the Governor General and ask her to dissolve Parliament, and we'd be into another election campaign. What we don't know, though, is whether the NDP, even though they've withdrawn their automatic support for the government on confidence votes, we don't know if they would vote this fall along with the Conservatives to express non-confidence in the Trudeau government and trigger an election. A lot of concerns about whether or not the NDP has enough money right now to fight a national federal election campaign. But this is all going to play out starting next week. It's going to be really exciting, this return to the House of Commons, because really, Faiza, Mel, anything could happen once MPs are back in Ottawa.
No kidding. Will they or won't they? Still up in the air. Glen McGregor in BC, you're doing a great job, by the way. We do hear the yelling there behind you. Thank you so much for your latest.
Yeah. Thanks.